All right, back with another Orioles update. Last broadcast was opening day 2022. Now it's towards the end of May 2022. We're about 2 months into the season, and it's the best update we've had so far. As you can see here in the standings, we're 29 and 27, 3.5 games behind the Yankees. So let's just go over a few things. First off, just the general team statistics. As you can see, May's been really good, 14 and 9 after a 10 and 15 April. Runs scored, we are 8th in the AL, really working our way up in slugging and OPS. Earned run average, we're 11th. Runs allowed, we're 8th. This has been a mixed bag. It's improved a lot lately. That 5.19 ERA, keep that in mind. We'll look at that. Fielding is 9th in the AL in both categories. I was around 15th at one point, so that started to improve as well, which is really important. Fielding, something I really concentrate on because it benefits the pitching so much. One thing I did do is I got rid of my pitching coach, who was Chuck Krim was his name. And he was a guy who was just kind of fine that I brought in after my pitching coach retired after the 2019 season. There hasn't really been a lot of great alternatives out there on the open market. So I promoted Justin Ramsay, who had been in AAA the last couple of years. And since Ramsay came in, we're 20 and 14 with a 3.96 ERA. So I think I was dead last in the AL in ERA when he came in, 14th or 15th. So a huge improvement there in pitching since he came in. Some guys are still struggling, but for the most part, a lot of guys, their numbers the last, I guess 5 weeks or so have been way better than they've been on the season. And I did make one trade. I was kind of shopping around, seeing, I have a bunch of 24 to 26-year-olds in AAA pitchers who at this point are just kind of like back end, maybe long relief guys at best. And I have too many of them. And, I traded some of those types of guys away in the offseason, but still had a few too many. I was just kind of shopping around, and I found that the Yankees were really itching to get rid of Luis Severino. Now, don't get too excited. Luis Severino in real life has had Tommy John recently. So coming into the game, he was out for all of 2020 with the Tommy John surgery. And as you can see, he came back here. He missed all of 2020. He came back in 2021. And let's do all levels here. 2021, he pitched in Scranton for 6 starts. He was down for a while to get 6 starts in. That's probably like 4 to 5 weeks. Well, maybe not that long. But and then he came up, and they see him as a reliever now. And actually, so does my team, my scouts and managers. And he wasn't that great. He pitched 40 innings, put up .2 WAR, ERA and FIP were around 4.7. And then I think they just wanted to get rid of him in his contract. He was making $11 million this year. He's got a team option for next year. And I'll look at my pitching later, but as you can see, he's been amazing for me. 20 innings with 1.2 WAR, a .63 FIP, 1.77 ERA, striking out 15 guys per 9. He's not walking anybody. He's going up 4.4 hits per 9. Obviously, his BABIP's going to come up a little bit. But yeah, he put up a 6.75 ERA, but only 1.22 FIP for the Yankees, and they decided to get rid of him. And they really wanted to be rid of him. They clearly weren't planning on picking up his option next year. We're just looking to get rid of him because they picked up 75% of his salary for this year. Next year, I will not pick up that $15 million option, and I'd be responsible for all of it if I did. So I gave up to guys who are on my 40-man, and we're probably going to move back and forth between Norfolk and Baltimore this year. They're both in the minor leagues, so I think they're kind of tweener guys. And I got this guy who I can't remember what I did with. Oh, he's in AA, getting bombed. So mainly, they were just looking to ditch Severino. There was really no good offers for these two guys out there except for Severino, who the Yankees just did not believe in anymore after a mediocre comeback as a reliever. But, man, he's been lights out for me. So that's the one trade that I made. Now let's go look at the team here, the hitting. Runs created plus, Nick Matan, a 184. He has put up 3.6 WAR in 55 games. He's on pace to put up 10.4 WAR. He's got 13 homers, 17 doubles. His OPS is 70% above league average at a 170 OPS plus. He was a guy who I got from the Phillies back in the first season in 2020 as part of the trade to send them Tanner Scott, who's been like their closer and setup guy since then. And he made his way through my system and was really good. And man, he's having a time. He won a Player of the Week. He hit. I'll find the numbers, but Mountcastle here, a 154 run created plus. He's on pace for like 6 WAR. Bannon struggled last year after coming up as a top prospect, but he's at a 140 and 1.9. Adley Rutschman, 114 runs created plus. And for anybody who doesn't know runs created plus, it's kind of the best catch-all offensive statistic, I think. It's just basically like how good are you at creating runs for your team in what you do in your at-bats. And 100 is league average, and every point above or below is a point above or below league average. So like Adley Rutschman is 14% above league average this year. Nick Maton is 84% above league average this year. He's just been unbelievable. He would win MVP if he keeps up this pace. I don't know that he will. Adam Hall is up at shortstop because Carlos Correa is hurt. Correa's been out for a bit. He started off okay the first 15 games or so and then got a day-to-day injury, and I let him play through it, and like a week later my trainer said he needed to rest. So then I put him on the IL. He was out for like 10 days. Then he went down to Norfolk and got hurt on the rehab assignment, sprained his knee, so he's been out again, and he just went out on a rehab assignment again. So I want to say he's missed pretty much all of May. So Adam Hall's been okay, actually, and his glove is good, but he'll probably go back down. Trevor Larnach has kind of been up and down, not between Norfolk, but up and down as a hitter, but he's stayed on around league average. Austin Hayes is still hitting a bunch of home runs. He's already got 13. Mountcastle's got 16, which puts him on pace for how many? 46 home runs. 5.5 WAR. Yeah, so Mountcastle's having a great year. Really, these 4 guys are kind of leading the way. Maton, Mountcastle, Bannon, and Rutschman, with Maton just on MVP pace. Pilar, not here for his bat. He's there for his glove. Diaz is my 4th outfielder. This guy's interesting. Alfonso Rivas. He's been bad so far, and I'm probably going to send him back down. He was a guy I got kind of in a throwaway trade with the Cubs back on trade deadline day of 2020. But then all of a sudden, he came over in 2020. Here he is in Bowie. He did okay. 120 runs created plus. And then he ripped up Bowie to start off last year. I promoted in Norfolk, and he tore it up again. And then he was off to a crazy good start in Norfolk again this year. Not a power hitter at all. He's a ground ball hitter. But just gets on base a ton, gets some extra base hits. But he struggled since I called him up. So I sent down Abraham Toro, who is my starting third baseman last year, is one of the main guys I got from Mancini. He really struggled out of the gate this year after not being very good last year. So I'm giving Rivas a little bit of a test run, but he's not doing a lot with it. Toro's ripping up AAA, so I'll probably call him back up. So that's one interesting thing. And then just in turn, there's another hitter on the IL here. Where's my disabled list? Or injured list, sorry. So Kyle Isbell is a guy who came up for a little bit and was really hitting the ball. Oh no, he'd cooled off. Never mind. He was doing okay. He's kind of like a potential like 3rd, 4th outfielder, probably 4th outfielder for me in the future. And he was one of the guys I got early in the sim in a trade. He's on the IL, but he's in the mix this year too. So that's kind of how the hitting going. Luke Roy's terrible. Cordova's a backup. McCormick is my 5th outfielder for now. I'm doing nothing. So pitching wise, let's sort by wins above replacement to start. Severino, of course, that's split between here and New York. But man, if you 3.6 WAR in 71 innings, that would be like I'd be interested to know where that ranks and would rank an all-time reliever WAR for a season. DL Hall has been really, really good. He put up a win already in 11 start, 4.21 ERA. Phipps right in the same area. Struck out 10.3 guys per 9. And then you can see, here's his last 5 games. He had a start where he lasted a 3rd inning and gave up 7 runs. And his ERA is still at 4.21 in 11 starts. That's awesome. With 3 pitches this good, he can get away with not being dominant, stuff moving under control. But that's great to see him in his rookie season. He was the 99th ranked prospect coming into the year. Good to see him possibly developing to a good rotation arm. Bunch of these guys, Connor Jones and De La Cruz are 2 guys I've acquired. They're both striking out a ton, 13, 14 guys per 9. They're in the bullpen. Feltman is my closer. He's pitching pretty well. Then what? Luke Weaver is a guy. He's got a 5.12 ERA, 5.6 FIP, .2 WAR, and 11 starts. Not what we want to see out of our number 2 starter, but he's one of the guys who's really turned it around since my new pitching coach came in. Matt Barnes is a big free agent acquisition. I mean, not big, but big for me. But he got hurt like a game or two, and he just came back this week. Bowman's been meh. Hammer. And then McKay and Castillo have both stunk. McKay's turned it around lately, as you can see, he's on a hot streak. His ERA was like up over 8 at one point. And Luis Castillo just continues to struggle, giving up too many home runs. Striking out 9.3 per 9, but negative .2 WAR. He's been okay his last 2 starts, I guess. 5 1/3, two runs, 6 1/3, 2 runs, but he's really struggled. It's disappointing as our number 1 guy. So that's kind of where the roster's at. Of course, main story is Nick Matan, MVP. Just a quick look at a couple prospects of the number 1 farm system in baseball. Asa Lacy, of course, the number 1 pick in 2020. He missed all of 2021 except for 4 starts at A-ball, which was only starts at A-ball because I promoted to Double A this year. And he's put up .8 WAR in 10 starts. 9.9 strikeouts, keeping the home runs and the hits and the walks all down. His FIP's right around 4. I don't think he won't be up this year, but I think if he pitches well, I could bring him up at some point next year. He's a number 7 prospect in baseball. Jamie Chisholm was a number 1 overall pick last year. His season hasn't started yet because he's in low A. I've got some more pitchers here who just aren't doing much. Gunnar Henderson isn't doing much. And then Drew Bowser was my number 1 supplemental pick in 2020. He's an 83rd ranked prospect, and he's doing well. 152 runs created plus. And he's only 20 years old in A-ball. I've got him working on shortstop. I'm hoping he can bring that up. If not, he could be a good second and third baseman with his ratings that he has. So we'll see. That's kind of what's going on with the farm system. And then, here are the rest of the standings. Of course, I'm 8-2 in my last 10, 3.5 games out. And White Sox are crushing it. The Dodgers started they were 24-4, and then they went on a cold streak. But they started the year at a ridiculous clip. The A's are burying everybody early. Wow, the Astros is a dynasty over. The Brewers and Phillies just haven't been good in my sim. That kind of continues. I'm 3.5 games out of the wild card. And just one other thing that I'm kind of starting to think through is, I don't think I'll sell at the deadline unless I totally bomb out. I'll sell guys on 1-year deals. If I'm kind of in the mix like this, I'll buy a little bit, but not too much. And one thing that I'm doing is I'm now setting the lineups. So my depth chart, I took it away from Hyde. It's actually kind of more realistic. Front office does a lot of that stuff and has a ton of input into it now in real MLB, and I wasn't happy with some of Hyde's decisions, so in I came. One thing I'll look at is possibly getting a better fielding right fielder and pushing Larnach to DH. I have him DH there a few days a week as it is, or a couple days a week. I could look for an awesome center fielder and then push Pilar to right where he's even better than he's in center, or just look for a right fielder. It's going to be hard to acquire a guy who has any kind of bat doing that. So it would give me Pilar and another weak bat probably. But if Correa comes back, and Larnach goes to DH, I would have 6 to 7 really strong bats, and to have 2 really good fielders out there, I'd be happy with. That's one thing I'm looking at. The other thing is a left-handed reliever. Bruce Zimmerman's kind of a guy who's up and down a lot for me. I send him, when I need fresh arms, he's one of the first guys that goes out. And Alex Claudio, he's been okay, but he's just not a shutdown guy. He's more being used in short specialist situations or even mop-up duty sometime. I'd like another lefty, another really solid lefty in the bullpen. So that's kind of what I'm thinking through. Probably maybe a really good center field right fielder with the glove and push Larnach to DH full-time, plus a lefty. And, of course, I'll keep an eye on McKay and Castillo. I could definitely use another starter, but those can be hard to come by. So that's kind of what I'm thinking through. I don't think I'll pull the trigger on anything too soon, but, I'm already looking around. So if something too good to pass up comes up, I definitely will. So I've got the draft in a week of OOTP time, and I'll post that. I've got the 8th overall pick, and it looks like there are a lot of really good college arms this year, which is awesome. So yeah, Orioles are 29 and 27. They're in the mix, and Nick Maton has been an MVP candidate for the first 2 months. And heck, I mean, Mountcastle and Bannon aren't far behind him, and being really, really, definitely all-star level performances, borderline elite. So that's all for now. I will have another update for the draft.